Okay, so from the previous video we moved our ship over 0.5 and up 0.5, which is good. I want to make this ship actually animate a little bit on the screen. So if you remember, our original position was right here, roughly in the middle of the screen, and then every frame I want to move this ship a little bit like so. Just send it off in this direction. Okay, not just jump over to here. I want to incrementally move it. So that's the goal we're going to hope to accomplish in this video. If you remember, we have this update function, and we did this in, I don't know, 5-10 videos back, where we have this timer running and the timer fires this update. And so inside this update is a good place to perhaps update the ship position. So right here we have ship position defined as a local variable for paint GL. I'm going to widen its scope a little bit so we can maintain that. And I'm going to do it here at the top of the translation unit. I would generally do this in the header file for the translation unit, but I'm going to do it up here. This is a sandbox. We're playing around. I'm just wrestling around. But I am going to put all this stuff in an unnamed namespace. And if you haven't heard what that is or not familiar with that C++ concept, the idea with that is it makes everything in here private, at least to this file, this compilation unit. So I'm going to get rid of the statics here. I no longer need them. They pretty much accomplish the same thing as what the unnamed namespace does. Okay, we have the ship position. I'm going to start it out at 0. And then these are incremental changes. I'm going to control F5 and just make sure our ship shows up right here, which it does. And this other ship's left over because it was hiding there on the background. You see, whoop, now you see it. No, and now it just, yeah. Do you like that Windows feature? I don't know if I like that. Shake goes away, shake comes back. Anyway, I don't know if I've used it for anything intelligent, but then again, there's a lot of Microsoft stuff I don't use intelligently. Clear that off. All right, I want to make this ship move incrementally, so let's do that. Let's get rid of the white space there. Go down here, my update. Let's say vector 2D velocity. Let's say 0.1 f. So every frame we're going to move at 0.1 f in the x and 0.1 f in the y. And then we need to update our ship position. Ship position gets ship position plus velocity. So this is nice. Since we've based all of our translations off the ship position, I don't need to go by one and update our update our vertice positions. I can just rely on this paint to add the ship position to each vertice individually, store the result right here, draw it, and then be done with it. So that's what we're doing. So all I gotta do is modify that one ship position velocity, and that'll modify all the vertices with the ship. Say our ship had several vertices, maybe 1,000 of them. Well, I don't want to have to update them one by one individually. Just always move them as a group. Instead, I just move the ship position and do a translation off that. Okay, I think that's good. There's one other thing we need to do here. Well, before I do that, let's just run it and see what happens. There's our ship. It's not perfectly on center, but it's not moving. Okay, now watch what happens when I click on this black console window. It's gone. Can you pause the video and think what happened? Hopefully you did pause the video and think what happened. Basically what's happening is this update, remember it's being called extremely fast, but Paint GL only runs when this window needs to repaint. And clicking on this black console window over here, having it overlap this window, causes this background window to paint, which in the meantime our ship flew off the screen, so that's why it's gone. So let's down here I'm going to force a repaint. I want to say, hey, update the ship position, then let's repaint the scene. Control F5. Oh, did you see that? Let me do it again. Control F5. So our ship, we told it to move 0.1 units every frame, and the frames are going by pretty quickly, so we see the ship just take off there. A few ways to fix that. Probably the obvious one is to lower that a little bit. Control F5. There you go. Not so bad. And then that wasn't too much work to get that ship moving. That's actually kind of nice there. So I think we'll call it good for this video. Try to have at least one shorter video. But one thing before I do that, this is purely a Jamie religion kind of thing. I'm not big on curly brace, one line, or curly brace. The languages are defined that if you only have one line in your loop, then then you don't need the curly braces. And I kind of like to tighten that up a little bit, just because I think curly braces, unless they're necessary, they're a waste of my screen space. I know that's going against the grain of several other programmers, probably most programmers I know. It's my way. This is my project. I'm going to do it this way. Is it worth fighting over? No. But I'm just going to do that and save some screen space.